Hey book buddies, welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be doing a tag. More specifically, we are going to be doing the rapid fire book tag. So I've seen this one floating around, and obviously it's been around for a while because the videos are pretty old for some of these, so I decided it was time for me to incorporate my own bookish answers into this tag and just have a fun time and be on rapid fire or whatever. So I guess I have the questions here on my phone, and let's just get into it and answer these as fast as I can. I think that's the point of this. First question, ebook or physical book? Obviously physical book for me, but ebooks have been growing on me lately because of their portability and the fact that if I don't own a book and I can't get it at the library, it's usually on Hoopla or Libby, so that is always good. But I just have a special place in my heart for these physical books. Question number 2, paperback or hardback? This one is probably the unpopular opinion, but I am a paperback lover. I love the floppiness, I love the feel of them, and they're just much easier to read. However, it is harder for me to get the paperbacks of certain series altogether because if it is a newer edition, they are not out in paperback yet. So I usually have to wait to buy them until they're out in paperback so they can match everything else. Question number 3, online or in-store shopping? And I am an online shopper, mostly because I can get better deals at certain websites, like Amazon has pretty good deals, and Thrift Books and Book Outlet. However, I really do love browsing the shelves in a bookstore, and if I go to a used bookstore or somewhere where they have books cheap, I do love perusing the books and being able to just find ones that I like and pick them out and buy them. But online shopping is probably my more preferred method. Next question, trilogies or series? And this one is a difficult one for me. I think I'm going to have to go with series just because I think that you have a better time of getting more interaction with characters and with the world and that kind of stuff, and I have a couple different series that are very long that are some of my favorites, and so again, that's just like you're getting to know the characters more and whatnot. But I do like trilogies for the fact that they wrap up quicker and you don't have to keep buying more books, so I guess I like them both, but series have to win. Next question, heroes or villains? And I'm just gonna have to go with heroes. I think that I am a hero myself. I have to do good things, and if I don't, I feel guilty. So me trying to relate to a villain is difficult, although if there is a villain with a very engaging backstory that makes sense to me, I always feel bad and I'm like, oh, that makes sense, so I hope I don't become a villain. But heroes are my preferred of the two. Question number 6, a book you want everybody to read, and oh boy, I wasn't expecting this one. I also don't have the book that I decided I was gonna pick. It's out on my other shelf, so I will just insert it here. But I think that you should read The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, and this is the first book in the Wheel of Time series. It is a chunky book, so sorry, 800 pages, but my boyfriend recommended this to me, and I see why he did. It has great, rich world building, great characters, and magic systems, and all that fun stuff. So if you are a fantasy lover, you should read that one. But it goes back to the series thing that it is 14 books long, so just be wary of that. But you definitely still should read at least the first book. Next, recommend an underrated book. And underrated book. I think I'm going to go with Blood Rose Rebellion by Rosalind Eves. Yes. And I got this as an ARC back in 2016 or something like that. Read it, and I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. Gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. And I think that this is a book that has been underrated, and I still think that it is a pretty good fantasy book. So if you were looking for a new one to try out, I would definitely recommend this one. Next question, the last book that I finished. I do have that one on hand. Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. This one is for a challenge that I'm doing. So if you're interested, stay tuned on my channel because it'll be coming up eventually. And you'll be able to see why I read this book and that I did not like it. The last book that I bought is out on my chair and I'm not going to go get it, but that is On Writing by Stephen King. It was $2 at a used book sale, and I said yes because Stephen King is great and I think that he has a great writing style, so I'm hoping to learn some from this book. Next question, weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark? Do Oreos count? No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know what's going on with this bookmark thing, but I don't get it. I just use random piece of paper that I find at work. Does that count? That's probably the weirdest thing I've ever used. I'm not really that original when it comes to bookmarks, so sorry. Used books, yes or no? If you've been on my channel for a while now, you know that used books are what keep me afloat because I am a poor college student and I cannot afford new releases. Except whenever I do buy new releases and then I cry because I could have bought more used books for that price. But yes, I love used books and I think that they are just as worth it as a new book because you're still getting the same content, and especially if you use something like thrift books where you can get an option for very good or, acceptable, you still can get really, really good books, and I've gotten some really nice hardcovers for like $3 on there. My top 3 favorite genres: thriller, mystery, fantasy, and do I even have other books on my shelves? Contemporary? I say that not knowingly. It's not my favorite, but it's the other one I have mostly on my shelf, so we'll go with it. Do I borrow or buy? Sadly, I usually buy, which I should be utilizing my library more, but I have been trying to make it more of a goal to go to my library and borrow books before I buy them, or using my Hoopla or Libby accounts because, hey, save money before you buy a bad book. I am learning this right now because of a challenge that I'm doing, but it's fine because it's a challenge, right? Yeah. But yes, I tend to buy, but I'm hoping to lean more into the borrow category sooner in my life. Hopefully, like, now. Am I more of a characters or a plot person? Ooh, can I say both? Because I always look for a character-driven book with a good plot. But I guess I'm gonna have to go with plot because this one's hard. I'm not being very rapid about this one. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the plot just because when it comes to the thriller mysteries, it's more plot driven instead of character driven, but then when it comes to some of my favorite books like It, the character development in the book is what makes it one of my favorites, so I do appreciate both of them equally, but if I have to pick, I guess I'm gonna go with plot. Do I prefer long or short books? I prefer long books, but do I read them a lot? No, just because, again, they're long, so they take up a lot of time, and since I'm trying to read a lot of books in a year, I tend to put all my long books on a back burner. But through experience, I have learned that they usually have the best world building, character development, all that fun stuff, so you really get to get a feel for everything in the book, and that usually makes it more of a favorite for me. So I do prefer long books over short books, but I've just been reading more short books lately. Do I like long or short chapters? I prefer short chapters in long books because usually I'm picking up a book while I'm waiting to do something or whatnot, and if I have a short chapter, I can read a chapter and see if I have time, and then read a chapter, see if I have time. I like to pause at good stopping points instead of just in the middle of a chapter. So when it comes to having shorter chapters, that makes it easier. But I mean, it doesn't really matter to me that much, like I'm not that much of a prude about it, but if I had to pick, I guess I would say short chapters. Name the first 3 books that I think of. It by Stephen King, Blue Star's Prophecy by Aaron Hunter, and Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. Those are the first ones that came to mind. Books that make me laugh or cry. The most recent book that made me cry was Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. That made me bawl like a baby back in February. And a book that made me laugh was Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. That was just a good laughy book, and I would definitely recommend you watch the TV series or read the novel because both were really good. Our world or fictional worlds? I'm gonna have to go with Our World. I know that's pretty boring, but I know this world and I have things that I like in it. So even though there are some bad things going on, I think there's bad things going on in a lot of fictional worlds because that's the plot. So I don't think you can escape badness wherever you go. So I'm gonna go with Art World. Few questions left, guys. Audiobooks, yes or no? Yes? Yes, but I don't prefer them. I use them if I know that I don't have a lot of time and I want to be reading a book. This especially worked for me when I was working at the butcher shop because I could just plug in a headphone, listen to an audiobook while I was cutting up meat. But now that I can just sit down and read, I always am gravitating towards a physical book because it just makes more sense. But I have listened to audiobooks here and there, so I will listen to them, but they're just not my preferred method of reading. Do you ever judge a book by its cover? Yeah. If you watched my more recent video of the fantasy books that I need to read, Black Leopard Red Wolf is a book that I picked up mostly because of its cover, and I have also heard bad reviews about it. So I did judge that book by its cover, and I'm not mad about it, but I do tend to look at the summary before I buy the book, even though covers are nice, but they usually are the first thing that draws me to them before I read the summary. Book to movie or a book to TV adaptations, I'm not sure if this is asking me which one I prefer, if I like them. I tend to prefer the TV adaptations because we have a longer span to develop in the world, and I think that this is much better for character development and whatnot. And even though there are long movies such as the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2 is pretty long, or the new It movies, I still think that sometimes they lack in character development, and that is sad. I think that the Harry Potters did better because they had like 8 movies, but I think that having a shorter time constraint can lose some aspects of a book that I think a TV adaptation can definitely hit on the nose better. A movie or TV show that I preferred to the book, definitely Good Omens, I think, but that is only slightly more. I still think that the book was really good, but the TV adaptation was freaking great, so definitely you should watch it. That definitely took me by surprise. I haven't read The Handmaid's Tale yet, but I'm hoping to see which one I prefer because I love the series on Hulu, so I don't know, but that one's probably another contender. But I can't really say because I haven't read the other book yet. Or the book. Okay, last question. Series or standalones? Definitely series because of the reasons I've given before about being able to understand the characters better through a series of books. I mean, yeah, we have like giant books that, like It, that were great, but I think that book could have also been like given out in a series of shorter novels like The Green Mile was. So in my opinion, big books like that are kind of like series. But anything that gets me good character development and great plots is good for me, and that just tends to be series just because we get to see them over a span of a couple books. So there we have it, guys. That is the rapid fire book tag, and that was not very rapid, I don't think, but I tried. It's just I like to talk. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you've done this tag, link your videos so I can go watch them, and if you want to discuss any of my answers to these questions, I will happily do so because I like making bookish friends and typing out replies to comments because that's just a fun time. But again, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and hit that subscribe button to see more of my content in the future. But until that future and my next videos, I will see you guys then. Bye!